It is now my pleasure to introduce our principal, Mr. Mendoza.
At this time, I am honored to welcome and introduce Councilman Joe Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. Mendoza. Congratulations, pilots. Class of 2013. We love you. We're so proud of you. I'd like to also extend some good wishes and congratulations to the faculty, family members, and friends who are in the stands. It's because of you that your loved one is sitting here before you. Congratulations to all of our family members, faculty, administrators. Thank you. You all have so much to be proud of. Thank you for this opportunity to join you today as we so proudly celebrate the accomplishments of this senior class. I am here to proudly introduce today's guest speaker, Mayor-elect Eric Garcetti. Eric Garcetti was elected to serve as a 42nd mayor of Los Angeles on May 21st, 2013. He will take office on July 1 and head into the mayor's office focused on job creation and solving everyday problems for LA residents. In 2001, Eric Garcetti was elected to serve on the Los Angeles City Council, representing the communities of Hollywood, Silver Lake, Echo Park, Atwater Village, and Glassell Park. Under his leadership, these communities have thrived and become synonymous with neighborhood revitalization. He was elected 4 times by his peers to serve as president of the Los Angeles City Council from 2006 to 2012, where he instituted tough financial reforms to make our city government leaner and more efficient. He was raised in the San Fernando Valley and earned his BA and MA from Columbia University. He studied as a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford and the London School of Economics and taught at Occidental College and at USC. He is a 4th generation Angelino and lives in Silver Lake with his wife Amy and 1-year-old daughter. Amy has joined us here as well. Let's give Amy a round of applause. Eric Garcetti is a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserve and is an avid jazz pianist and photographer. For the past year and a half, I've had the opportunity and pleasure of working with Eric on the city council floor, making decisions that affect the lives of each and every one of you. His leadership has been vital to my growth as a council member, and I'm proud to call him my friend. I knew that we had to elect Eric, but most importantly, I knew we had to win the vote for the 15th district. This is why I took it upon myself to endorse him and ask you, the voters, to join me in electing him as our next mayor. Well, let me tell you this. Not only did you listen and voted, but this graduating class was instrumental in getting Eric Garcetti elected. This graduating class made phone calls, knocked on doors, and shared Eric's story and his vision for our great city, and secured the harbor area vote for him. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you my hermano, my fratello, my brother, Mr. Eric Garcetti, Mayor-elect for the City of Los Angeles.
Give it up for Joe Buscaino. Good afternoon, pilots. Muy buenas tardes a todos. It is great to be here with everybody, and congratulations to our graduates. You know, since my election a few weeks ago, a lot of people have been coming up and congratulating me. So it's so nice today to be able to turn the tables and to congratulate you. Because you have worked even longer than I did to become mayor. You have worked for this day. You may think that graduation is about newfound freedom, a new adult world. And yes, maybe your parents should let you stay out a little bit later tonight. What do you think, parents? Maybe 9, 10 o'clock, 10:30? We'll talk. But while you look ahead, don't forget to take a moment and to look back. Somebody asked me the other day, what does it feel like to be elected mayor? And I had to think for it long and hard. And I said, the only time I can remember having this feeling is the day I graduated from high school. Because it was that moment in which everything you've worked for becomes a little bit unmoored. You feel a little bit adrift, but in a good way. You breathe in that last breath of youth, but you look at that limitless horizon of what is possible in your life. So I know what you're feeling right now, because I'm feeling it with you as well. You got here because there has been a conspiracy of love. It starts with your parents in the stands. And why don't you all stand and give them a round of applause, a standing ovation to thank them for getting you here today. Those brothers, those sisters, those aunts, those uncles, those abuelas, abuelos, all of them made it possible. Y gracias a todos los padres, las madres, to all of the families who make it possible. But the conspiracy, you can sit down. But the conspiracy of love didn't just start and end with your family. It's also those that are up here and around you. Your fellow classmates, those who taught you, your teachers, the administrators, those who cook the meals here at school, those who clean the bathrooms, those who are there. This is part of a team, and we want to thank all of them for making this day possible too. So give them a round of applause, all of those great employees, and especially those teachers who made the difference. Now think about what went into these last 13 years of getting to class, of listening in class, at least most of the time, right? Of doing the homework, of taking the exams, of making the grade, and always, I'm sure, being very polite to your teachers. I don't know, a couple of you in the front row, I'm not sure. But let's put this in perspective. When you started this journey 13 years ago in kindergarten, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there were no iPhones, there was no Snapchat, there was nothing out there. In fact, they didn't even have wireless. Some of you were juggling work after class. Some of you were caring for little brothers and little sisters. Some of you were the first in your family. In fact, if you're the first in your family to graduate from high school, why don't you stand up right now? Bravo. And all of you worked hard. And you learned a lot over these last 13 years. Math, science, even PE. But while you may not realize it at this moment, the most important lesson that you learned wasn't necessarily in any particular class or any grade that you received. It's a lesson that's learned one day at a time. It's a lesson that the legendary basketball coach at UCLA, John Wooden, said to his players when he told them it's the little things that are vital. Little things can make big things happen. Waking up for class even though you were dead tired. Studying for that exam instead of chatting with your friends online. Double checking that last math problem. That's what made this day possible. People talk about the big decisions that we make in life, deciding what job to take, who to marry, what college to go to. But it's those little decisions along the way that can make an even more profound impact. And that's my message for you today. That accomplishing great things is based on your ability to persistently, stubbornly deliver on the basics. That's been my experience at City Hall, where I've been a council member for 12 years. But holding that title isn't what I'm proud of. I'm proud of that while I was doing that job, we fixed one park, we fixed one neighborhood, we fixed one block, one job, one unit at a time. We built stronger neighborhoods, not from the top down, but from the bottom up. And when people ask me, how did you do that? They expect me to lay out a grand vision, a philosophical theory of governance based on a complex algorithm or something like that. But the reality is, we got back to basics, took care of the business, fixed the streets and made them safer. Sometimes I say you can't lift your eyes up to the stars to dream until you fix the cracks on the sidewalks. Literally, that's true in my work. We have to start with those cracks on the sidewalks, and I'm sure your parents and you know some that we need Joe and me to get fixed. But we built parks, we changed lives by listening to neighborhoods. So if there's one lesson I can leave you with, it's don't do what I'm doing today. Don't learn how to speak, as important as that is. Learn how to listen. When I was a teacher, I used to love those students in the front row who would raise their class to any question, but I learned over time that it was sometimes that student in the back of the class who didn't speak for the first 3 or 4 classes because she was listening to what I was saying. And when she finally raised her hand and said something, she spoke with such power that everybody's mouth was wide open. They had been talking and talking and talking. She had been listening and then spoke. You know, it's not to say that the basics like reading, writing, and arithmetic aren't a huge piece of what we do even at City Hall. They're part of everything that we do. But my mantra in government is one that perhaps can be applied to your life. You have to make sure that you begin with the basics. So dream big, pilots. Dream big of your future family. Dream big of your future success. Dream of that business that you want to open. That class that maybe one day you'll teach. Think about that way you want to give back. And think about a moment where you are. This city started right here in Wilmington. This great town, which is now the 2nd largest city in America, one of the great places in the world, started right here where you are. The biggest ships in the world come into port. Some of your mothers and fathers help them get in and help them unload. We fuel America right here out of the neighborhood that surrounds Manning. So know how special this day is to be here in the center of where it all started and where it will go. But always keep doing the work that got you here. Stay disciplined, stay honest, stay true to the person that you are. Stay grounded, and I guarantee that you will soar. Now let me close with this, because after all, you're pilots. Pilots bring in planes, but they here talk about those port pilots that bring in those ships I mentioned. Never be afraid of setting out to sea. Never be one of those ships that rots in port because you're too scared you might shipwreck out there in the ocean. Never fear anything. Go out there. You'll never find those distant shores if you don't leave this port. And always, always lead with love. I'm so pleased that my wife Amy is here. My little baby, Maya Juanita, who arrived during our campaign, is now 18 months old. When I think about the world that I want to create for her, the world that you will create for her yourselves, it is that fearlessness that we must all have. And as mayor, I promise I will return that love to you every day. And my pledge to you is this: if you work hard, so will I. City Hall won't be a distant monument to you. City Hall will embrace our city, every corner of it. Wilmington will never be forgotten, and this community will literally every day be in my heart and soul. For me, Wilmington is LA, and LA is Wilmington. As a side note, I want to thank you for allowing on this stage a dear friend of mine, Joe Buscaino. He might be a pirate, but he's a good guy. And with that, hey, don't boo the council member. He won't fix the cracks on your sidewalk, so. Truly though, Joe Buscaino is a great representative. You are so lucky to have him. Give him a round of applause. I thank him for his service. And pilots, let us set out to sea together. Let us find those distant shores together today. Breathe in that air and feel what success means. You've earned it. Felicidades. Congratulations.